It is Off the Podium, an Olympics podcast coming to you today for a special episode because can you believe it? We are now officially less than a year away to Paris 2024. Only a couple of days ago, we crossed the barrier. 1 year to go to Paris 2024. So we are now here to talk about looking ahead to Paris 2024 because we have all the breaking news on Off the Podium when it comes to everything that is going to be happening in the next 12 months. It's going to be an Olympics. They're going to be in France. Thanks for joining us on Off the Podium. It has been a pleasure having your company on this award-winning podcast. In all seriousness, we're excited. We're going to speak French, but none of us can do that. One of us lives in a country where they sort of speak French, so maybe he can join us. So let's introduce him first, because I guess he kind of is halfway connected to Paris, because there are French people in Canada. It's Colin Hilding. That is the worst introduction I have ever done on this show.
I mean, you're not totally off because I am, I think, legally obligated to say both hello and bonjour at the start of every episode. I just have failed for the first 6-7 years.
So are you just saying after 300 odd episodes of the show that we're going to get sued, basically? That you got to go back? Like, no. Justin's listening to this. He's like,
I'm just going to jail. You guys are in the clear.
That's fine. That's expected of one of us eventually anyway. Also, speaking of France, it's a man who knows it exists. It's Jared Lubeck. Jared, welcome back to Off the Podium.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my acknowledgement of France existing.
It's kind of like we've got to, in Australia, how we're going to like do an acknowledgement of country or welcome to country. It's like from now on, every episode of Off the Podium, and we'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge France exists. Thank you for your time. And hello, I want to say to our video viewers, because this is the first time we've ever released an episode that isn't an interview of us. So I don't think you've ever seen Jared before. So,
no, I haven't seen Jared before.
That's what he looks like, everyone. There he is. He's got a face. He's got ears. He's got a nose. Probably got other bits
He's
too.
in a room?
He is. He's got walls. Do you have oxygen in that house, Jared?
I do, but I didn't invent it. So that's unfortunate.
You're just not from Birmingham.
That's
we're gonna work on that. But seriously, Paris 2024, we're less than a year away. This is our, I guess, technically fourth one of these looking ahead to episodes. We technically didn't do one for Tokyo. That was more of a, oh shit, they were postponed. We should talk about that. First time for a Summer Olympics we've really done a proper one of these. But it's, given we had two Olympics so close to each other, we're here to talk about another one. It feels like we're just talking about the Olympics all the time. I'll start with you, Colin. How are you feeling? Paris, the Summer Olympics. We're going back to a city where they've had them before, just like Tokyo, just like London, Rio didn't have them before. We're just recycling the cities. After 100 years, we're going back to Paris.
Yeah, and we all have fond memories of the last time we were in Paris, too.
Remember it vividly. Yep.
But I actually think that's one of the reasons why I'm excited is because we're going somewhere. It's not just we're going somewhere that I haven't seen within my lifetime, but I keep thinking about, especially since we did like the opening ceremonies episodes that we've done, where I'm like, wow, now I'm really thinking about how different this might look, and it's not just going to be your typical Olympics. The opening ceremonies alone, I think I'm getting really excited about, but I feel like Paris is just creeping up on us really quickly. Like, there's been multiple times over the last couple months where I've thought to myself, wait, like next year is going to be Paris. Like, where did this come from? It feels like we just had two Olympics within the last couple of years, which we kind of did. Maybe that's the reason why it's creeping up. You get through this rush of Tokyo and Beijing back to back, and then you assume, I'm going to have a few years break, and then those few years just go by like that.
I guess we've covered a few events too. I guess there's Commonwealth Games. We're in the middle of covering a Women's World Cup right now as well. So there's a few other things. And I just want to point out that my strong memories of Paris 1924. I mean, who could forget Ernst Linde winning the individual dressage? I mean, it just gives me chills thinking about it. Thoroughly deserved. Jared, I know he was one of your favorites, but I don't want to get you emotional. How are you feeling? Speaking of emotional, Paris 2024, we're nearly there, sort of.
I'm pumped. I just have like a feeling that it's going to be, I don't know, expectations are high. I just think it's going to be an amazing Olympics. I'm expecting big things from like the opening and closing ceremony. And I just get the feeling they want it and they're going to put money behind it.
Well, that's what we want. That's what the IOC needs, I think. Because this is obviously a very unique Olympics in the fact that this is sort of the games and this cycle where it started this now unique way of awarding an Olympics. So, of course, Paris and LA were bidding for these Olympics after 58,000 other cities ended up dropping out of it. So then the IOC were like, well, here's an idea. How about you just share the next two? And LA were like, no, we're American. We want these Olympics too. And Paris were like, we're French. We want them too. And the IOC were like, well, one of you usually runs away, but here's an idea. Because it's the 100th anniversary of Paris, how about you do that in LA? You just be nice and you can have 2028. And they're like, all right, sure, whatever. And they did it. So that. I had the complete insight from the IOC papers. That's how it all worked out. So it is kind of very unique. But I have to say, when Paris got the Olympics, it was a long time coming. I think they'd bid about 87 times in between 1924. And I don't even think there were that many Olympics. I think they just bid like 5 times per Olympics. And eventually they stuck. So it is exciting. I think, Colin, as you said, it is a real rarity that you see like a world city like this have an Olympics. We saw London obviously have it a few years ago, which was sort of a big deal to kind of have one of these major global cities. And for France itself, Albertville, 92 was the last time they even hosted any form of the Olympics. So it's been quite some time. So it is exciting to see a global city because, no disrespect to Rio or Nagano. I just don't think that we've had this outside of London. I mean, Sydney, I guess, is a global city. I don't know. Winnipeg, Colin, would that be a global city if they hosted the Olympics?
Winnipeg's not even a provincial city, barely.
That counts. I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. I didn't actually have a question with that. I just was going on a long tangent there about a statement, apparently, about everything to do with that too. But just touching on the opening ceremony, you brought it up. It is this very unique way they're doing it. So it's going to be down the Seine, basically. They're going to be just shoving a bunch of barges down there, and it's going to be open up to the whole city of Paris, and there's going to be only a certain section which is going to be seated, which I know when I first heard this idea, I was like, do I like that? That kind of sounds a bit, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I like the stadium and everything. But then I saw Tokyo, and I'm like, yeah, look, I think this will be fine. I don't think we could do much worse. And now the more and more I think about it, you see the concept images and the idea. I think this is going to be epic, Colin. I think this is going to be set a standard for how opening ceremonies are going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of like the look of Lillehammer and the bottom of the hill and everything just being something different and out of the ordinary outside just your regular stadium. So I mean the visual is going to be fantastic. And if I'm looking over all the venues here and what their capacities are, and it's great to read because we can look forward to equestrian can hold up to 80,000 people. That's incredible. Whoa. Basketball and handball.
How do I miss out tickets to equestrian? Hang on a minute, back up.
It's very big in Paris.
Sold out.
Wow. We got football, 76,000 people. We got surfing can hold up to 5,000 people. And then we have the opening ceremony venue, 600,000 person capacity. Like I hate it if they have the 601 person, 600,001 person who gets turned away. Yeah, no, so we just reached capacity, sir. You're gonna have to go home.
Can I just put that in clarification? The population of Tasmania is about 550,000. There are going to be more people at this opening ceremony that live in my home state. That is absolutely crazy. I'm just blown away by the fact that 80,000 people. Same with modern pentathlon, and that was legitimately the one I wanted to get tickets to, and I couldn't get it. I got tickets to golf. 35,000 people at Le Golf National. I'm going off at the golf. I can't wait. We'll talk about the venues a little bit more, I think, on this because this is exciting. Jared, though, the opening ceremony, your thoughts as we get closer to this?
Yeah, I'm just keen for something different. And like Colin said, with like Lillehammer, just what made it so special was that it just did stand out from kind of like modern opening ceremonies and just everything kind of being set in the arena. So this will be great, particularly with like all those people there. I feel like you'll get a real vibe of the ceremony just watching it. So I think that's gonna amp it up a whole level.
And I think when they announced these games together with LA, I think LA came out first and were like, we are going to do our opening ceremony in 2 stadiums. They were going to spread it between the new SoFi Stadium and the old Coliseum where they had the 34 and the 84 Olympic opening ceremony, and that sounded a bit odd. And then this is there. So Brisbane, over to you now. What you're going to do? Oh, we're going to have it in 1 stadium. Cool, the Gabba. Let's bring that on. But it is going to be unique. And I think as we're discovering in our opening ceremony series and we talk about that mixture of projections versus props, given that it's going to be on a river, I don't know how much they're going to be able to do projections. So we might be back to old school props. Like that might be a cool way of sort of looking at it. Or maybe they're just going to have the Eiffel Tower or something along that line that's like fallen over and I don't know, knocking over the Eiffel Tower. Hey, everyone.
They're gonna knock over the Eiffel Tower just for the spectacle of it.
I'm still saying that has to be the cauldron. That has to be. They have to somehow, like, we saw it in Men in Black. It erased the memory of the world in Men in Black, right? Like, that is just perfect that they can somehow turn that into a cauldron in some form or another. But we saw it with the handover ceremony in Tokyo when they sort of crossed over to Paris and they had that digital flag, which, it's the world's... No, it wasn't the world's largest flag. It was fake, everyone. I think that kind of gave you a bit of an insight into maybe what we're going to see. It was a bit disappointing that we didn't get much in the stadium in Tokyo, but we still obviously got that. Of course, the closing ceremony does switch back to the more traditional way. It will be in the Stade de France.
Boo!
Boo, France! It should just be the entire country, right? It should just be all of Paris and the French country gets it. But it is sort of unique. And then even you touched on surfing. Of course, that is in Tahiti, so it is on the other side of the world. I believe this will be the first time since Melbourne 1956 when we literally have something on the other side of the planet, because they had the equestrian in Sweden when Australia had the Olympics in 1956. So it is going to be a unique Olympics. And it's also on the 100th anniversary of Paris 1924, which I think kind of adds a little bit. Colin, what are you hoping from Paris? What is your favourite memory of the Paris 1924 opening ceremony? I hope they revisit along the Seine just to bring back.
It probably would have been when they held surfing in Bermuda and Jamaica, and I want to take you. I want to backpedal here for a second because I don't remember equestrian from Sydney. Is there no places for? But there's no places for horses to actually run in Australia?
No, it was a thing because like in the 50s, because it was such a long trip, they couldn't get quarantined because of our strict laws in Australia. So they basically would have had to send the horses, I think, like 6 months out from the Melbourne Olympics. So they're like, okay, it's just easier for us to have the equestrian in Europe still. Whereas I think they had planes in Sydney. So by then we could have horses come to Australia, right?
We don't allow horses in Australia, only prisoners. That was the law at the time.
Is that a convict joke? Wow. That hurts our feelings, Colin.
It hurts one of your feelings. Jared's hurt. Ben knows it's true.
Jared
Ben's one of them.
Hey, I don't actually think I have convict blood in me. Do you have convict blood in you, Jared?
I meant horse.
Yeah. Oh, you meant horse. Well, how good looking is it? I don't know. Let's not open that can of worms. Obviously, we like to talk about sort of looking ahead to the sports and the events. There's one that we're going to be talking about in just a moment. But interesting fact about Paris, this will be the first Olympics that there have ever actually been less events than the previous Olympics. So we're actually losing... Sorry, the first since 1960. I thought it was of all time. 1960. I'll correct myself there. So this has 10 less events than Tokyo. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that we're losing 3 sports. Well, I guess baseball, softball is 1 sport. So 2 sports you're technically losing, and karate, even though you're adding breaking, which we will get to. But before we talk about that, because I think that deserves its own little section... The other sort of events that have been changed, it's not really like the Winter Olympics, whereas we always talk about, they've got scope in a Winter Olympics to kind of just go like, you have 4 new events, you do this, you do that, you have the big air twisty monobob on one and this, that, and everything else. With the Summer Olympics, because they're so tight in terms of the medals and the athletes and everything that they can include, basically if you introduce a new event, you got to remove something from a sport. So we are seeing that in canoe. So we're losing 2 sprint events to get 2 new slalom events. So 2 more gold for Jess Fox there. That's basically what they're doing. She's half French, right, Jared? So that's what they're basically doing, like a home Olympics for you. Weightlifting has lost 4 events. I guess people can't lift certain weights anymore. I don't know. They run out of money for... Why do you lose weights in weightlifting? Like, that's a weird one to lose into it. And sports climbing gets technically two new events, because rather than a combined where you have all three of the disciplines, they're separating them to have a speed climbing and a boulder and lead section. So rather than having speed climbing, boulder and lead all together, you have speed climbing one, boulder and lead separate, if that makes sense. And then, of course, we gain braking, which... anything to add on canoe, sprint, and slalom, and weightlifting, and Jared? I know you're itching at the bit to talk about the losing of the weightlifting.
I feel like that's a good decision, right? I mean, softball and baseball, that's messed up. But it'll be back, so that's okay. Sport climbing, yeah, but keep the combined event, I say.
Yeah.
Give them four events.
All in one. You got to climb up fast and jump and be technical together.
We need to crown the overall the best, and not just these people who can do one discipline,
Ninja
not
Warrior.
the other. Not good enough. Yeah.
Just have International Olympic Ninja Warrior basically go on there. That would work. Dressage on the speed climbing. They got to lift their leg a little bit as they go up really fast. I don't like that idea. Colin, anything to thinking about less weightlifting but more sport climbing?
Like when you lose events in canoe or weightlifting, really that's going to impact the athletes more than it's going to impact the viewers. The viewers don't really know the difference between the events. So it's this distance, is this weight limit or whatever.
Sprint and slalom are slightly different when it comes to canoeing. I don't know about you, but I notice a difference.
No, but the average viewer watching is going to be like, we've got canoe still. They're not going to know what you lost from canoe. It's like, it's like snowboarding. Like, who even really remembers the slalom portion of snowboarding, right? I mean, I think that where I wish that they had, like Jared said, kept the combined event for sport climbing, because it was interesting to watch, but the problem was it was not accessible for your average viewer.
Yeah.
There was no TV coverage here for it. I don't even know how much they even recapped it. And for me to watch it, I had to basically commit to watching 6 hours straight. So by separating those events, you're obviously allowing for your average viewer to tune in for an hour or whatever and not have to commit an entire day to it. But we're kind of losing the excitement of that combined event. So it would have been nice if they found a way to maybe just remove another weight class in weightlifting and then give them their fourth event.
Are you disappointed we don't have a mixed gender sport climb? Because we know you love your mixed events.
And there's some of them that work. There's some that don't. But
I don't even need to just trigger him. That's easy to do, Jared. I just say
sport climbing relay would be amazing.
that would work. I mean, but I'm actually surprised that we're having less sports though, because I would have assumed almost everything's going to have a combined event coming into Paris based on what we've seen over both Beijing and Tokyo.
Well, I wanted to add, I thought let's go back 100 years to see who won the sport climbing at the Paris Olympics in 1924. Obviously, unfortunately, we didn't have it. But of course, we famously had art competitions in the 1924 Paris Olympics. So we had literature. Let's butcher the French name here, but Jean Charles won the gold medal for Jeux Olympiques. Very standard there that a French person writing something about the Olympics would win gold. Margaret Stewart. So this must have been mixed events in literature. So very progressive, the Paris 1924 Olympics. Margaret Stewart and Joseph Peterson won equal silver for Denmark and Britain. And then bronze, Charles Gonnet for Vers les Deux d'Olympique for France, tied with Oliver Gogarty for Ode to the Talatin Games in literature. Painting, we had Luxembourg win a gold medal in that one. Sculpture, Greece. Now, but I just want to point out, though, in architecture and music, okay? So for music, it says here gold, none awarded. Silver, none awarded. Bronze, none awarded. So basically, the French are like, haha, no, you're shit. We're not giving any medals. But it gets better. For architecture, bronze. Julien Médecin for Monaco. He won a bronze for Stadium for Monte Carlo. Convenient. The silver was shared between two Hungarians, Alfred Harjos and Deso Lauba, who won silver for Plan for a Stadium. Good. They wrote down on a piece of paper, I'm going to plan for a stadium. Have an Olympic silver medal. The gold medalist for architecture, none awarded. So basically,
I think the gold medalist got caught. That was a drug cheat, so the bag got taken away.
And it had an HB pencil when he was meant to have a 2B pencil. Basically, oh no, you've got extra lead in that pencil. How does that work? Like, how do you go? None of these are good enough to win a gold medal, but we'll give a silver and a bronze. And in music, yeah, we'll give a 4th place and a 5th place, but we won't give a gold medal. I think bring them back. That's what I say.
I just don't see how you can have a dead heat in those events.
Yeah.
Surely you're able to separate and not just award out multiple medals. Surely.
Oh, literature. Oh, these are so good. I can't.
The same amount of spelling mistakes. We can't separate them. That's it.
I know. I can't do it. I really can't just understand it. Bring back. I mean, esports was on the cusp, right? And esports has kind of got this weird thing where the IOC were like, no, esports, no to the Olympics. But now they're running the Olympics esports series right now. So it's like you're just trying to cash in on this craze at the same time. I have no idea. Breaking, though, let's talk about it. We've had a couple of athletes on this show already learning about it. There's a Canadian world champion in breaking, so this could be actually a real medal prospect for this Colin. We poked a bit of fun of it. We've talked about it over the years and had a bit of a laugh, but I've come around speaking to a couple of athletes on this show. I don't know if either of you listened to our chats that we had there with Gerard and Ray Gunn as well. Jared, breaking. What are your thoughts as we get close? Have you had a chance to check it out a little bit more?
I haven't, but I feel like I kind of want to go in blind. I don't want to set up expectations for this because I think it's going to be like, I'm here for any new sport, like really like darts, sure, like whatever.
Hey, don't knock darts when you watch that on TV. That's very exciting.
But this, like, it's going to be amazing. And I'm all here for like these sports where it gets really subjective in terms of judging and there's controversy. I think that's more fun.
Well, in all seriousness, we joke about the arts 100 years ago. This is the closest we will have to arts because as we've heard through our interviews, it is very subjective. Like, for example, the breakers don't know what music they are dancing to, and it's all very free form. They don't have like a pre-planned routine. They kind of just feel the music and then they kind of go to it. So, and a lot of breakers don't consider themselves athletes. They are artists. So this is something that is very close to being an art at an Olympics rather than a sport. Colin.
They were very close to competing in literature as well.
None awarded. Actually, I see that. Breaking, 1924, none awarded. Oh, okay. Your thoughts, though, on breaking?
Like Jared, I kind of want to go in blind. I don't know what I'm going to see. And I mean, we're going to get a preview of this during the Pan Am Games in a couple of months. I remember with surfing, like I definitely seen some surfing on TV, but presented as a sport. I remember watching it during the Pan Am Games back in 2019 and being like, ooh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I have a better feeling about breaking, though, because if nothing else, it's going to be fun to watch. That's the difference between skateboarding, I think, and surfing and breaking is you can at least have a soundtrack in the background, right?
Yeah.
But I actually really like that idea that they don't know what the song is. I want to see the reactions from people as they're getting ready. They're like, they're stretching and everything. And all of a sudden the music hits and it's like something like absolutely hideous. Like, I don't know. What's that? O-Town, the boy band stuff from the early 90s, or something terrible like Taylor Swift, you know?
Hey,
just get a song, just get like this song that nobody wants to dance to and you're embarrassed. If nothing else, I want to see some embarrassment from people who are like, I get Taylor Swift? Like, of all things, this is what I have to draw?
So basically they get out on the mat and they start hearing and they're like, fuck. God, I was preparing for Beyonce.
Who's going to get the Cotton Eye Joe draw?
Oh, Scatman John. What other sports could they do that for? Like athletics? Like just as they get to the line, oh, I hope I'm running 100, and you are running the marathon. Go! You got the marathon. You got like all the Kenyans and Ethiopians. All right, ready to go. Hour and a half. And the 100 meters, go. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? You know, like just do that. Like all these athletes get up into like a soccer pitch and they're ready to go. And like, all right, and here's a horse. You're doing dressage. Like just open it up to everyone. I'd be involved.
Kenny Alexiak getting ready for her 8th medal all of a sudden, and architecture, design us a stadium.
A musician's there. Oh, they didn't win award any of these medals out there. And like, and archery, have a bow and arrow, go. oh, I might be in a shot with this. Might actually be a shot with that, huh? I got that. That wasn't planned, but that was funny. That was quite good. The venues, though, spread out. The majority of them are around the Paris area, but as we kind of talked about, Tahiti does have the surfing. Who was that? One of you scoffed at that before. Jared, you had a bit of a laugh on your face there. No, we don't like this idea of surfing on the other side of the world. No.
I think they should just have to put up with it. You got the Olympics. Yeah. You don't have any waves on the coast.
They've got surfing at the south of France, don't they? Like, I don't know. That's a good point, actually. You get the Olympics, deal with it. Like, oh, look at me. We don't have a football stadium. We're in Tahiti should host the whole Olympics.
Stick them in the whitewater course. Honestly, not that difficult.
Yeah,
save some money.
Well, I mean, it is a little bit weird though, because like you wonder, is there nowhere closer? And we kind of didn't think it was that big of a deal back in Tokyo, but like the race walkers and the marathoners.
Yeah.
To them, they're like, I'm competing like 2 hours away from Tokyo. I'm so disconnected from the Olympics, and they hated that. I can't imagine. It's probably going to be different considering like these are surfers. Are they really going to know where they are in the middle of the event? But like, I do feel for them. It's like, you're not really going to have the opportunity to be part of the Olympic experience. You got your own like tiny Olympic village.
I guess the argument is France owns Tahiti. So it's like, it's still France. Like, I mean, Australia, we spread out the soccer during the Sydney Olympics, like Adelaide hosted games, Brisbane hosted games. I think we'll do it again, for Brisbane as well. I've Googled surfing in France. There is surfing in France. Apparently Normandy. I mean, get shot by some Germans at the same time. That's fresh.
Maybe some bad memories of that one.
Yeah, maybe. And the surfing at Normandy. And in come the Germans. Oops. No, we're not going to do that one again. But yeah, I kind of like the fact that we do have a lot of like clusters of venues, and there's obviously some really iconic areas. So like beach volleyball, for example, is going to be basically underneath the Eiffel Tower. Obviously the tennis is going to be at Roland Garros, which is, exciting there. This might be the first clay court Olympics. I'm guessing Barcelona in 92 might have had a clay court potentially, but, do you think Rafa is he going around again next year, do you reckon, or does he not give a shit?
It's meant to be like his last year on tour, so we will see. I'm excited that he's already got a gold medal in singles, so nothing to prove really.
Yeah.
Unlike some other players who don't have a gold medal in singles.
Who could he be referencing?
But I'm like, will he qualify, right? Because he hasn't played, since the Australian Open. By next year, he's not going to have a ranking. Like, surely they give him a wild card in if I'm like the French Tennis Federation, but who knows?
Well, he's never lost at Roland Garros, right? Like, isn't that some crazy stat, or has he only lost there like once or twice or something like that? So
3 times, I think.
Oh, okay, well, he sucks then. Clearly, he's not going to win. Like, God, get better. 3 times, Jesus, how many times has he won out there? I guess, but I think like it's when I was getting tickets, you do see the scope though of outside of Paris where some venues are. So like Lille, for example, like the handball and like baseball is technically like 250 Ks from Paris. But then they've obviously got very fast trains in Paris to sort of get you there. And the soccer is obviously being spread right around the country as well when it comes to that. But like sort of within that Paris sort of district, there's quite a lot going on around there with that as well. The fun fact here, because obviously we're doing this like a year out from the Olympics, so we can't really talk necessarily a lot about, who's qualifying. We're sort of really down to quotas and who's been sort of giving quotas to their country. So at the time of recording this, 97 countries have qualified for Paris 2024. So there you go. Congratulations to all the countries involved. And I will say that Australia, at the time of this recording, have qualified a total of 91 quota spots for the Paris Olympics. That does, of course, include like rugby sevens. Obviously, there's a few more people involved in that. Canada, pick your game up. Only 12. What's going on there? Come on, Colin. What 12 quota spots. Less than a year to go. Come on, up your game.
We like the anticipation. This is all about building tension.
I can tell you at the time of recording, and we should say we're recording this, say, like a week or so when we're actually releasing this episode. So literally by the time you're listening to this, the World Swimming Championships will be on right now, but they're obviously on just a week away by the time we're recording this. But you have qualified for the sports of athletics, cycling, and gymnastics right now for Paris. Good job, Canada. Well done. Whereas
The big three.
The big three. Whereas Australia, we've got athletics, equestrian, rugby sevens, shooting, surfing, and swimming. So there you go. We've got swimmers, Colin.
And surfers.
And surfers. In all seriousness, I mean, it's obviously a little bit hard to kind of talk about the mood in the countries right now because I guess, we're in the middle of a Women's World Cup right now. There's a Pan Am Games in a couple of months too. We've got a Youth Olympics and everything. So it's really not forefront of the media landscape right now. But is there any discussion, Colin, about the Olympics? Any thoughts, prospects? We'll talk about sort of medal hopes shortly, but anything going on in Canada?
No, I mean, obviously, there's certain sports that we'll get more to. Obviously, soccer right now for women is getting a lot more attention. Who might we see in the Olympics? A lot of the big players who are out injured. There's obviously talk. Okay, well, there's still a chance for them next year for Paris. I mean, Andre DeGrasse is still making news pretty much every single week. I think the only one that's really been talked about a lot is Penny Oleksiak because headed into Tokyo, she was very elusive. It's like, okay, is she going to compete? Is she not going to compete? She's not really doing the world championship. She's not really doing this or that. Obviously, we saw her pull out of Birmingham last year, and now she's pulled out of the world championships coming up. But yeah, the statement she made was, yeah, I still plan to compete in Paris. So, I mean, she may just go in completely blind. I'm not going to have any
Paralympics, is she? Good for her.
Exactly, yeah. She's decided she wants to blindfold herself for now. It was too easy last time. Now I got to do it blind. But I mean, the big ones get talked about every once in a while. Whenever they happen to do an interview, are you planning to compete? I'm sure we got that question into Penny last year. Are you planning to compete into Paris?
I'm glad you remember our great episode with Penny Oleksiak, now available via all good platforms. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can watch that.
And some bad platforms too.
Yeah, there are some really shit platforms. Don't listen to those in there. Jared, again, it's a difficult one for us really to sort of talk about because it's sort of, again, at the time of this being released, World Swimming Championships are happening. We've got some other events happening sort of closer to that. But, I mean, just, I guess, your general vibe around Australia's head for the Olympics?
Yeah, it's not really on anyone's mind, is it, at the moment? But I think we will get excited in the build-up. I think there's some sports that swimming that I'm usually not particularly interested in, but this feels like a year in swimming where I think it'll be a lot of athletes' last Olympics, kind of like the current top crop. So in my mind, that's kind of, I suppose, an interesting thing to keep an eye on, to see kind of how these swimmers, a lot of these swimmers who we've gotten to know over kind of the past, 2 Olympics, go out, whether they go out on a high or whether they Campbell sister it.
Which did you see that I think old Kate was on the IOC social media platforms this week as a athlete special took takeover. She was answering the fans' questions on Instagram. So I didn't get mine in, unfortunately. So I'll try my best. If I bump into her in Paris next year, I'll be sure to play her all the clips of all the lovely things we've said about her on this show. Now, just one thing though that I wanted to kind of go to is, the last time we've sort of done these, we've had Grace Note, the great company where they sort of do a medal predictions. They obviously do that a little bit closer. We're a year away. They haven't done one yet. But if we go to Total Olympics, it's a very weird spelling. It's basically total with Olympics after it. So totalolympics.com. There you go. They have a tracker essentially tracking the medal count through an Olympic cycle based on world championships throughout a 4-year period. So I can tell you here an overall tally based on purely just world championship wins at the time of recording this. Of course, obviously, something like the World Swimming Championships or Australia clearly have won 30 gold medals by now. We'll be a lot higher up on this one. But I can tell you the positions of both Australia and Canada and also our medalists in each of them. So right now, according to totallyolympics.com, Australia would be 10th on the medal tally with 15 gold, 17 silver, and 18 bronze, a total of 50. Canada would be 16th with 8 gold, 14 silver, 14 bronze, and 36 medals. So to just go over that, so Canada, for example, so your gold medalists, at least world champions since Tokyo. And I'm going to have to try and decipher some of these pictograms because, as we know, Paris's pictograms are slightly hard to understand. So Jessica Klim-Kate, I'm going to guess that's weightlifting.
She was judo. She was one of our medalists in
I'm
judo.
gonna guess that's judo. I can't tell. It just says women's 57 kilos.
She's changed sports. He was not happy with them reducing the number of categories in weightlifting. So they need my support.
She had to. She stood with her sisters. So she got that. In the women's canoe single C1 200 meters, Katie Vincent. She is a reigning gold medalist. Now this is boxing. Tamara Tebow.
Yeah.
In the 75 kilos, world champion.
You met her, didn't you?
I did meet her back in the Commonwealth Games. I did. Summer McIntosh, of course, and the previous World Championships, 2 World Championship gold medals for there. The national team in the men's 4x100 meter relay at the World Athletics Championship. It's just called national team. There you go. This one I'm guessing is also judo. Krista Deguchi in the women's 57 kilo. Wait, she won the 2023 World Championship where Jessica Klimkate won the 2021 World Championship. There you go. And here's your B-boy, your breaker. Philip Kim is the reigning world champion in men's B-boy in breaking.
We got this.
So in all seriousness, you could be the first ever inaugural breaking champion. Summer McIntosh, let's talk about her for a second. She's obviously a massive name. Well, she's like 12 in Tokyo, so now she's about 87. So, and every time I jump online and see Devon talking about things, he's always talking about Summer McIntosh. Is she basically the Penny Alexiak moving forward now? Is that who everybody's keeping an eye on for Canada?
Yeah, it all the way back in Tokyo. Everybody knew in 4 years this is the one that we're all going to be talking about. I don't know whether she's on there or not, but Maggie McNeil as well. She was kind of like a surprise gold medalist in the last ones, but the majority of the talk is on Maggie McNeil and Summer McIntosh. I would say that Summer McIntosh probably gets more publicity here now than even someone like Andre DeGrasse, who's still competing.
Does she have a book coming out? I mean, Andre does.
I hope so.
On the side of a cereal box? Or?
Yeah. She will be.
This also does list like silver and bronze medalists here as well. And I just hate seeing Kylie Mass's name in silver. It's just, it's like Colin throwing chairs. Like, I mean, I want Kaylee to win more gold, but like if I had to have one, Kylie, come on, Kylie. Get yourself a gold. Do better, Kylie. Do better.
Technically broke our streak.
Sort of. Maybe. Kind of. In the Australian side of things, I've got to question their logic here because I guess you might have seen this, Jared, judging on your reaction here, but they do have Ash Barty here twice for winning women's singles and women's singles. I'm guessing that's for Wimbledon and the Australian Open, which aren't really world championships. And also she has retired. So, although according to them, expired. Ash Barty died, apparently. We didn't know. Sally Fitzgibbons, Logan Martin, Jess Fox are on there. Elijah Winnington, best name ever in swimming, let's be honest. The national team in the women's 4x100. Sounds like one of those video games. And the national team has won gold. Zach Studley Cook, Oz Network, Off the Podium. He's probably on the Oz Network too, let's be honest.
The real best name ever.
Exactly. Jess Fox again. Kelsey Lee. But we've got to talk about our athletics team, don't we? I mean, 2 Off the Podium guests, Eleanor Patterson and Kelsey Lee Barber, both went on to win gold at the World Champs last year. So there you go. But, I mean, looking at this list, Jared, 15 gold medals, let's be honest, a bit down from Tokyo, 2 down. I say we could do better.
Yeah, what happened with the Sailing World Championships?
I know.
He must have won at least 4 or 5 of those.
Where's the Penny Alexia? We don't show up to the World Champ. We know the Olympics is where it's at, right?
What's going to happen if Esther Ledeca comes in and decides to compete in sailing? All these predictions are going to be out the window.
Who cares? She's showing up she's a bee girl. She's dancing. She's doing sculpture. She's so good. She will win a gold medal for music at the 1924, none awarded, Esther Ledeca.
She's finally going to clean up with that gold medal they've been waiting to award for 100 years.
She got architecture gold, Esther Ledeca. That's what she did. She's the cauldron for the Olympics. She just stands there and they light her on fire, but because she's so good, she doesn't burn. She radiates beauty. She's like, I'm Esther Ledeca and I am the cauldron for the Olympics. You're welcome. ISE, Thomas. And actually, we should mention, in all seriousness, hello, Thomas, gold medalist, Olympic champion fencing, will be his last Olympics. This is his last Olympics in his final term, which will be good because, again, I think he's still wrapping up his Rio speech. So he might be. Are we sad to see the end of Thomas, Colin?
I'm sort of sad because I'm thinking, is the next president going to provide us with this much great material?
It's John Coates.
Is it?
It's John. I mean, John's been hovering around, sucking nose for a few hundred years, and he's ready to go, isn't he? Come on.
We need somebody who can give us some comedy material. Like, that's all I really want. I could care less who they are or how they do their job. Just make us laugh, Give us something to make us laugh with.
So what you're saying is I'm in with a shot. I'm actually in with a shot.
I said laugh, Ben, laugh.
I'm in with a shot because I'm just going to point this out. Why is that funny?
Good one, Ben. Oh, comedy gold from Ben Waterworth. Oh,
see, you agree with me. There you go.
See, people are watching video now. They can see my incredible lips.
I'll get a puppet. I'll just get a little Colin puppet made. Jared, are you excited or sad? Excited? Are you excited to see the back of Thomas Bach?
I think it's overdue, but there's part of me that this is stupid because he hasn't left yet. It's already nostalgic.
Yeah.
Poor Thomas.
It's like,
but I mean, he'll get to do things that he enjoys doing, counting in his spare time. So that'll be good. That's a good hobby for his retirement.
I've got to say though that you're right. It's a bit nostalgic because Thomas Bach's been the IOC president for pretty much as long as we've existed. Rio was his first Olympics, So, it's kind of like, it's an end of an era. We never got to talk about Jacques, rest in peace. Juan Antonio, rest in peace. They drop like flies when they get out of the presidency. I mean, keep an eye on Thomas Bach, Olympic champion fencing for the next few years because he might not be with us for very long. It's like the Pope. Do they have to just when they go, do they just light some white smoke and hey, we've got a new Pope, everyone, new IOC president. I'm seeing here that in all seriousness, a forefront, there's a couple of women that are sort of the forefront, so they're thinking that we might have our first female IOC president, which I guess we're due. A couple of hundred years of the not a couple of hundred, 130, 40 years of the IOC. Do they have names? No, they don't. They're just women. All women become the president. Kirsty Coventry, she's a Zimbabwean champion swimmer, is she not? Or is she a cyclist? She was a swimmer. She was a swimmer. I knew
architect.
Musician, breaker. Stick to my guns there, Jared. That'd be cool. So there you go. She was the chair of the coordination commission for the 2032 Olympics in Brisbane. So poor old John Coates sitting around.
It's got to be Esther, though.
She's automatically just president. She just became president when she won gold. That's what you do. It's it's a cheat code. Whenever you win 2 gold in 2 different sport, you automatically become IOC president. I'm a bit sad now that I talk about this out loud. Thomas, let's all get next year for Paris Thomas Bach t-shirts.
You won't be sad when you hear his speech.
No,
and you'll be like, "Yep, okay, move it along."
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it. I just want to say at the time of recording this. I may have just actually been invited.
Thomas Bach?
I may have been invited to a media roundtable with Thomas Bach. So perhaps we register our interest and we come up with a collective question where it clearly is it law that by saying your name we have to say the words Olympic champion fencing afterwards? But I don't know. Maybe we get our listeners or our viewers to send in, what do you want to ask Thomas Bach? You go, we just get one question.
Just start your submissions now.
Yeah, quickly, because it will take a while to answer it. So by the time you get to it, but we'll come up with stuff. We'll come up with something that's exciting there. Two things I wanted to actually before I move on, I should mention on that medal tally they have America on top. No surprise. China second, Japan third, France fourth, Britain fifth. Come on, they've dropped off since London. Where have they got the Netherlands? 7th. They're always up there, aren't they? These predictions always put the Dutch there. And also very excited to see that Tajikistan are on track to win a bronze. So
notice you skipped New Zealand again.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. What are they on? 6 gold, 5 silver, 5 bronze. So what are they winning? Probably all just rowing. Yes.
Rowing, cycling.
Yeah.
Less canoe.
Well, they've got sailing on theirs. Men's dinghy. Where's ours? So yeah. Anyway, just touching on just the broadcasting of it. So CBC, are they contracted?
Yeah.
Are you aware of, Colin? So that won't change at all for...
Yeah, as far as I know, there's only one Olympics they didn't have ever. And they in between every Olympic cycle, they run every Saturday afternoon. Still to this day, they run our Olympics preview. So, I mean, it'll be a huge waste if they don't end up getting it. I'm assuming they got it awarded well ahead of time, though.
Well, there's a great show, and you'll hear talk us a little bit about it with somebody in a couple of months, a very big name who also has appeared on this very show I'm about to mention. America are doing a show called Chasing Gold Paris 2024 on NBC Peacock, which sneaky way of watching it if you're in Australia, don't tell anyone, is use a VPN and go to their YouTube channel. It's on there for free. It's a great show, and it's sort of just, they do it once a month, and kind of, it's obviously very American-based, like these are the people, these are the Americans, we're dominating the world, we're America, but it is kind of a very cool little show to watch. But Jared, for us, Channel 9, no more Channel 7. The last time they ever had an Olympics, I worked for them, so I'm sorry, Channel 7.
No, they lost it.
I lost you the Olympics. My bad. But like, I know a lot of people are sort of, grown a little bit with this. It's odd for me. Having worked with Channel 7 now and seeing it, like a bit of a soft spot, and they are the Olympic network. We've talked about this. You think Olympics in Australia, you think Channel 7. No more Bruce. It's going to be weird. But growing up, I was always a Channel 9 fanboy. That was always my network. That was still the one, Channel 9. That was always the one I liked. And I'm one of the few people who are like, Vancouver and London weren't that bad. I thought they did a decent job. I don't know how you're feeling about it, but I'm somewhat okay with Channel 9 hosting the Olympics. And they've got them for the next 10 years, so we've got to get used to them.
Oh, yeah. It will give us new content. I mean, that's the main thing, right?
Yeah. That's all we need.
New network to bag out, new enemies to make, new people to hate on. You're right, though. It feels wrong, but I'm sure eventually we'll come around to it.
The thing is, it's kind of not like 2010 or 2012 when they've got obvious names, right? Like, I know Eddie's still floating around the furniture there, but he's not really there as much anymore. I mean, who are we going to have? Carl Stefanovic kind of doing stuff? Somebody from Married at First Sight is going to be host. I mean, I can't tell you an obvious Channel 9 personality. Like, I don't know, Todd Woodbridge? I mean, he'll be doing the tennis surely, won't it? That's about all I can think of.
Yeah, that's it. That is like that. Literally, that's it.
Do they have a weatherman who can come in and do commentary?
Steve Jacobs still around? I haven't watched Channel. I don't really watch free-to-air TV anymore. What else does Channel 9 even have? Underbelly? Is what's his name? Guyton Grantley around still? I don't know. That's the weird thing. They don't really have standout personalities anymore on Channel 9, but we welcome you to the Olympics, Channel 9. It's that time of the episode, though, gentlemen. You've been sitting here for 47 minutes, and you're going, Ben, you haven't mentioned the one thing that we're here to talk about. And let's get visual. If you're watching us right now on the video, hello, because we're about to be joined by a friend. Uh-oh, here he is. It's old Phryge. Now, I've actually looked at the pronunciation. It's Phryge. Phryge.
Phyrge.
It's Phyrge. Who are you, Ben Waterworth? It's the mascot, if everybody's listening to it. They've literally gone, oh, God, they've gone all visual now. They don't need to tell us what they're talking about. The mascots, it's our favourite part of every Olympics that we get to talk about. And I just want to point out, I re-listened to our Looking Ahead to Beijing, and our underwhelming reaction to Bing Duen Duen. I want to formally apologise to anybody who ever sat through that crap 2 years ago. God damn it, how could we ever under-talk the great Bing Duen Duen? But we're here to talk about Phryge, which it's a glove, or as somebody explained to me, it's a uterus, because if you turn it upside down, it kind of does look a bit like a uterus. So, Colin,
is that what they look like?
That's a part of a female body. You should look that one up. It's not a glove. It's actually a hat. Did we talk about this when we ranked it? That this is actually meant to be based off a Phrygian cap, which was used in the French Revolution. So a symbol of revolutions, the French Republic and freedom. The Phrygian cap can be seen on the French national icon Marianne, depicted in busts at town hall across country, as well as on stamps, and is also covered in the national curriculum in schools. So there you go. And according to paris2024.org/en/mascots, our mascots want to play a role in the lives of French people and help bring more sport into our everyday life. And what could be better than little Phrygian caps to lead this revolution through sport? Which I'm saying right now, I fucking love this thing. I love Phryge. He's my favorite. We only ranked him 19th on the thing. I want a Redux. I want a Phryge Redux because look at this thing, everyone. Look at it. Look how cute Phryge is. Jared, come on. Jump on the Phryge train.
I am getting on board. I'm still upset. I mean, I'm upset that the Guillotine lost out. Like, if we were going to do Revolution, surely that was the way to go. But there's so much opportunity for good old Phyrge to get stuck in a door.
Yeah. It screams door, doesn't it? Like, it's just, you've got to love these mascots where, like, you think about somebody in the suit, and there's a few videos when they announce it, right? Like, there's no obvious arm area. Like, these aren't arms. These are just, like, flappy bits, right? So, like, arms are constricted into here. And again, if you're listening to us, yeah, we've gone all modern. Like, we've gone all video-esque. So tune into YouTube. Subscribe to us while you're there. Like, you can't move in it. So you've just got, like, legs, right? And then you're just moving around. And even the Paralympic one with obviously the blade, you're going to have even more difficulty with that one there. But Colin, if you come around on Phryge, on Phyrgalicious, he's Phrygalicious.
You're trying so hard to make us come around on it. No, not completely, but I still see potential. I especially when you mentioned getting stuck in a door, what I'm actually hoping for is that Phryge here falls into a pool and tries to paddle with the little flappy thingies with no arm movement, attempting to tread water.
It's like,
let's just think about the amount of disasters that Phryge can get into.
There'd be a back float, surely.
Yeah.
Down the river for the opening ceremony.
Yeah, like it's like you can sort of like pin its legs up like that.
Oh, look, Phryge is breaking. Break dancing.
It's spinning. Woo! This is why we need to do more video episodes. We can be so funny. But like, look, how can you not like? And sorry to keep calling it a he, they, them, probably. Like, I'm sure you can get le femme, speak the French. But I mean, Colin, look at it. Look at that face.
I still wonder with like the ribbons that come out of the side of its face,
French,
like it's on.
French, it's le tricolore, le tricolore, le bleu, le rouge. Le white? I don't know. You can't remember.
It looks like it's only got eyelashes on one eye. That's what it looks like to me.
Gender neutral.
Nah, hair's growing out of a mole. That's what it is.
Like, I mean, Big Dwendon didn't have a Chinese flag sticking out of it, did it? You know, it's got a logo on it. See? We'll talk about the logo. That hasn't really changed. It's still pretty bland, right? But like, I got ahead of the curb. Because I'm going next year and I'm going to sell out. Big Dwindwin sold out. Like, come on.
This is going to be like the worst selling mascot in history, and Ben's going to be holding on to it.
That's Izzy behind me. You leave Izzy alone, all right? Like, that's got tags on it still. That's worth a lot of money. But
Ben's got a type.
I do have it. I mean, you know I like Die Another Day. That's not going to change. I mean, look how cute the eyes are. Like, it's screaming like, love me, Colin. Love me. Please. Buy me for your children.
The closer you move to the camera, the more terrifying it actually gets.
Buy me. Spend money.
The Phryge beanie, though, with the ear flaps, you know that's going to get sold out.
I'm going to buy, when I'm at the Olympics, I'm going to buy each of you one. I'm going to send it, and we're all going to come back for a wrap episode, and we're going to all wear it. And that's going to, when we interview Paris Olympians, we have to wear it. I'm going to buy you T-shirts. I'm going to just buy you everything. Like, look, listen to this, Colin. The Phryges follow a long lineage. The Phrygian cap was part of all major events in French history. The French National Archives show records of Phrygian caps worn during the construction of Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral, during the Revolution, and even during the Olympics in 1924. So?
But, like, now that I know it's a hat and not a hamburger helper glove or something like that, it just looks weirder to me because I'm envisioning the eyes on the front, that somebody's wearing their hat all the way over their face with eye holes cut out.
See? It's a hat. Or
hey,
a
you look
uterus.
like Papa Smurf.
A uterus or hat?
Are the Smurfs French? I can't remember. I think they were.
I don't know. Are they?
Now I think it's a Smurf.
Les Smurf. I mean, our French history is very strong on this show.
Belgium. Sorry, they do all the comics.
That's where all the comedy is in Belgium. I think of funny and Antwerp. Come on, where's the Le Belgique one? I'm sorry, Colin, you're wrong. Like this is the mixed relay of Colin opinions. All right,
it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog got shoved into a Phryge hat.
What's wrong with that? You said that's like a bad thing. All right? Like
I wish I didn't know about the hat thing because now it just makes it look weirder.
If I knocked on your door wearing this costume, would you let me in?
Oh no!
Or do you let me get stuck in the door?
I wouldn't let you in without the costume either. The costume is going to be irrelevant.
Wow, just wouldn't let me in. That hurts my feelings.
Cruel.
Jared, next time we go to a soccer game together, I'm bringing this. All right?
Okay.
Yeah, just gonna. Yeah. Well,
okay, you do that.
yeah. Look at that. The next time that you blow me off because you're busy that night. I'll bring that along there. Just on the logo, we should. I mean, obviously we ranked these if you go back and listen to our episodes, but yeah, I mean the logo's pretty bland. It's not the the greatest. It resembles a gold medal, the national personification of France, formed in a negative space. It was designed by French designer Sylvain Boyer. Cool. So
I can't even see the flame anymore. I just see a woman with a bob haircut.
That should have been the mascot.
I've looked at it too long. It's not.
Yeah,
right
I see
anymore.
the lips
it's
on
worse.
the bottom there.
Yeah,
the lips, but then the flame, like the outline of the flame, is just like a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't unsee it anymore.
I am hoping though that like we talk a little bit about like the branding and the color scheme and sort of like the buntings and all that kind of stuff they do. I'm a big fan of black and gold together. So I do hope that they stick with a black and gold motif. Like that would look very nice. And I like the font. When are we ranking the font?
It's up there.
Yeah, Colin, what do you think of the font of Paris 2024? Are you a fan of it?
It's the best font Paris has had in 100 years.
Yeah, what was the Paris 1924 logo? A Phyrge. Just on a hat, basically a head. I can't even speak properly right now. There's a reason why we get too carried away with that. I mean, anything else really to add? We're gonna have a unique coverage right now. I'll say this because I'm going to the Olympics in some form or the other. I've got tickets right now. There could be other ways and means that I'll be able to do things over there. So. And we've got some big plans. I think that we're going to be on the ground, obviously, there, at least with 1/3 of us, you two cheap bastards. Oh, I've got a family. Oh, I've got a house to pay off. Just become single and rent. Simple when you go to an Olympics. All right? If you're not good enough to compete in the Olympics by being an athlete...
Jamie Benja said to dump you in rent.
Sell the house. And you'll be at LA in 2028 in no time. There you go. But we're looking forward to doing some unique coverage with it. But I don't know, like it's sort of, we're in an interesting period right now for Olympic fans because there's a lot to look forward to in the next 12 months. Besides an Olympics, we've got a Youth Olympics obviously coming up. We're going to have a IOC session in a couple of months where we're going to find out what sports are going to be added for LA in 2028. And we're still obviously on tenterhooks to find out when the hell they're going to announce 2030 for the Winter Olympics. In any usual cycle, we should be hearing about it now, but there's still a lot of debate about how that's going around right now. But, I mean, Colin, great time to be an Olympic fan.
Yeah, yes, it is. Also, let's add, this will be the first time since Rio we're going to see a crowd at a Summer Olympics. Like we talk about how long and how short this sometimes seems, but when you consider that we had almost no crowds in Tokyo, like this will kind of be a treat to be able to see 600,000 people at an opening ceremonies.
And in all seriousness, like the ticket sales are just going gangbusters. Like in the two sort of period windows that I was in to try and get tickets, like it was ridiculous how sort of everything had sold out essentially. So
they still have 79,000 for equestrian available.
They just sell it to like the 1,000 like hoity-toity French people. Oh, I want to see the horses. And then resale, 79,000 tickets available to dressage. Seriously, like come on. 80,000 people for dressage. Like shit. Like, come on. Horse lifts its leg up. The crowd goes wild. Like, picture it right now. If I
blow the roof off that place.
If I can't get to dressage, I will stand outside the stadium. And that will be the best atmosphere you will ever hear in Olympic sport. When Bat Horse Jr. lifted the knee and walked backwards, crowd goes off. Jared, I mean, we're excited, right? Lots to get pumped up.
Oh, pumped. It's going to be amazing. And we didn't even mention like the eventing of the dressage or whatever of equestrian. Versailles Palace grounds. Like, why not?
Yeah. They're going to sign a treaty while they're there. You know, maybe get the Modern Pentathlon Federation with the horses, right? Because of this whole like, no, we're cancelling horses out from Modern Pentathlon. Treaty of Versailles, hey, it speaks for itself. Just saying. Okay.
Sounds like you're pitching to become the next president of the IOC, Ben. This
is
is treason.
I am very qualified to be the next president of the IOC, Colin. I am a multiple gold medalist on many PlayStation games. I have interviewed more Olympians than I'm sure Thomas Bach has won Olympic medals.
Just not gold medalists.
I had a letter read out on an Olympic comedy show talking about Juan Antonio Samaranch, His Excellency. I mourned the loss of Jacques Rogge. The Hobart Olympic bid was mentioned by the IOC vice president when he was just the lowly AOC president. I've got many What's your qualifications, Colin? I threw a chair once.
I'm not you.
Thank God for that. We only need one of me. And more Phyrges, fridges, uteruses, uteri. Would you vote for me, Jared, if I ran for the IOC president?
Depends if you're up against Phyrge or not.
Oh, true. I mean, I would vote for Phyrge. Do you think we could get will.i.am and Apple? What was the other Black Eyed Peas? What was it? Applebee's? No, that's Google it for me, Colin. Applebee's and Wendy's and McDonald's and KFC. The Black Eyed
Apple.
Peas.
Yep.
Apple D. I knew there was an apple in there somewhere. That's it. Cool. All right. There's only two of them. The Black Eyed Pea.
Taboo and J. Ray Soul.
Oh, J. Ray Soul. Who could forget? What was that boy band you were talking about before? Boys to Hoops or something? O-Town. Wasn't that a Little Nas song? I'm going to take you down to O-Town Road or something like that? No?
I thought that was the movie we watched on the Oz Network.
Oh, what a great show the Oz Network is, by the way. Download it. Seriously, Jared, you can't stop listening to it, can you?
See it.
It's just Phyrge will make it every time we do an episode now. Phryge. I love how I read on a website the pronunciation. It's like freeze with a J.
Phryge.
Phryge. This is a lot of fun, though. I always enjoy these ones. And it's going to go by very quickly because, again, we're less than a year away to go till the Olympics, but we've got plenty to come. I mean, we're literally in the middle right now. We're basically doing this because next week we're going to be going back to talking about the Women's World Cup. Then we've got interviews and Women's World Cup, then more interviews. We've got a Pan Ams. We're busy little beavers here on the show. We're busy little Phryges on Off the Podium. One thing, though, that I'm very excited for. Can we tease a little thing that we're going to be releasing at some point very, very soon, which you two are very excited for as well? We've joked on this show about getting our own mascot. We've said, how good's Phryge? How good's Izzy? How good's Wenlock? How good's that tiger from Soul? Like, we've all thought, like, wouldn't this be great? So we had a bit of a joke, like, we should get a mascot. I'm saying right now, ladies and gentlemen and theys and thems and everybody listening and watching, we've got one coming. We will have an official Off the Podium mascot, which we will be releasing at some point. Won't be quite as elaborate with a video and a whole, like, it's going to have like one pose, but that's all we could afford. But like, it's it's going to be very stunted, this mascot. But we'll milk it till the cows come home. So stay tuned. And we're going to have an elaborate backstory. Maybe we can do it animated.
Yeah, specifically designed to get stuck indoors.
Exactly. I mean, you've both seen the concept for it. We haven't seen the finished product yet. But, I mean, Jared, give us your thoughts on... I don't even want to spoil the name of our gender-neutral mascot.
I think just groundbreaking. Never seen before. Thinking outside the box.
Yep.
I mean, it's effortless.
Yep.
It screams progress.
It's very progressive. Speaking of boxes, you might find it at a box at your local IKEA. So that could be a thing. Colin, I mean, let's be honest. You're kind of the creator of this. The backstory revolves around you a lot of this. So
I named it too.
You did, and you've got it. You're heavily tied to the inspirational story of how this mascot rose from adversity to come out and put forward a podcast, an award-winning podcast. Over to you, keep the flame alive. You're not going to get a mascot. We've got a country. Well, we've got a mascot, so we raise you. Colin, you're excited for this, aren't you?
The best thing about this is that once the mascot has been revealed, I will say I have 4 children.
You have 4. Oh, I get it. Because like you have 3, don't you? I'm like, oh, it's your 4th child. Oh, cue violins. There you go. I want to be able, if I'm at the Olympics next year and I just happen to see Thomas Bach, I'm going to give him one. That could be the round table question.
Yeah.
Thomas, what do you think of? Oh, so many options. I wonder if I get more than one question. Thomas, have you finished talking yet?
One question for you, one question for the mascot.
3. Next week, we'll have our group stage review of Australia-New Zealand 2023 Women's World Cup coming your way and getting into more interviews. A week after that, we'll have a great interview with an Olympic champion in a great sport that Colin and I did that you'll get very excited for and everything else. Jared, you got any interviews coming up at all?
Bit of this, bit of that. Stay tuned.
You'll pull your weight one day. Don't worry. I'll chip off a bit of that award and you can get the little tip of it somewhere. But in all seriousness, it's been a lot of fun. Everybody tuning in and watching for the very first time. Thanks for that. Listen every week for all your great Olympic content and everything as well. And subscribe, like, do all of that. Listen to Meatloaf. Friendly reminder that France exists. It's got too many closings. We've become the Thomas Bach of podcasts. We go on too long because we've got so many. This was a joke. Colin, thank you for joining us and look at him in the eye. Look at him in the eye.
I'm hypnotized now.
Not him. Tell them that they are unlovable.
You are unlovable, Phyrge.
He's going to show you his butt.
That's his uterus. His uterus
kind of has a bit of an indent there, doesn't it? Yeah, Jared,
your hand goes.
Thank you, Colin. Jared, thank you as well, and may the best. I don't know. Look at it in the eye.
Tell him he's unlovable.
You couldn't say that to that face.
I'm gonna. Beautiful, Fergalicious. My niches. I'm doing the gym, getting my fitness. I can't remember that song. Thanks for tuning in. As always, shout out to Jason Momoa, the Birmingham Bull. And as always, remember to go left.